Similar to the way we are treating owners, we treat investors. Usually, we might be there might be a single investor in a project, or we might have multiple investors for the same project. Now, the same thing we did under owner, we have the owner's schedule and the owner actual payments. Here we have the investment schedule and the investment payments. For example, here under this project that is called, this is the project and that's the description, we have this investor has 15%, this has 15%, this has 6%, this has 28%, 6%, 2%, 10%. You see, we have multiple investors. We have how many investors we have here? We have 12 investors in this project. That's if you have a group of investors under the same project, you decide the percentage of every investor. And for example, here, this is the investor. As you know, it's an investor code because to hide the real investor. The notes, the first payment date, when is the first payment date expected? The status of this document, because the investment schedule is a document and it is scheduled right now. What revision number? Because if you revise it later, you put a revision. The system will keep the old and will create a revision number, keeping track of all the revisions. The total payments, it's $150,000 US dollars, the currency. The down payment is 10 and 140 total installments, where each installment is $30,000. If you go inside it, you would see these the $10,000 that we said, and the $30,000 at the $30,000 at equal payments, and what remains at the end is the $20,000 at the end. That's the $150,000 that this investor will need to pay. This is how the investor is actually paying the money so we can build the project. So the investor, some investors might tell you, okay, I will not give you all the money as a single down payment, one payment in advance. I will pay you as the cash flow requires. So if your cash flow, and that's the financial engineering that we do, if the cash flow needs some money to be injected in the project during certain phases, and that's what the estimate gives us. We know when do we need to ask the investor to pay his investment. So this is very important in what we call the financial engineering of the project. When do we get the investment of each person? For example, as you can see, this one has $60,000, $15,000 as a down payment, and total installment of 45, and each installment is 45. Means one installment and $15,000 at the beginning. This is the idea. So always it will tell you there's always a total. You can add as many totals as you want to. There's a total at the bottom that will tell you the total investment that you have for this project. But as we talked about owner's schedule and owner payments, we're going to talk about investment schedule and investment payments. These are the actual payments of each investor inside this project, when it happened, how much it happened, into what account did it go, and the amount of it, and the time it was accepted. So we know the total, how much was actually paid for this. Now, under the investors, it's different than the owner. The owner is, you take his land and you pay him back. The investor, you take his money in certain period, and you have he or she will pay his investment in a certain schedule, and this is the expected when and the actual when he paid. But there is, you have to pay that investor, you have to pay him or her back at the end of the project, or depending how your contract with them or how your agreement with them. And that's what we call is a return on investment schedule. So when I go and propose an investment to a person or an entity, to tell them you can come and invest with us in this project, the 1% will cost you this much. You can decide how many percentages, what percentage you want in this project, and when can you pay this investment, or when we would like that investment to be paid. So this is also an engineering we're predicting, for example, when we will pay back the return on investment, the ROI, return on investment schedules. But this is the expected return on investment. The actual return on investment payments, as you can see in this project, we have not yet, or that the investors have not yet received any actual payment as a return on their investment, because the project is not finished yet. So the investors, as per agreement with them, they will get paid back to back, or depending on what agreement you do with them. This is the actual return on investment payments for each investor. So what we did, we covered the investment schedules, the investment payments, actual investment payments, that's the money in, and the return on investment schedule, the expected money out to investors, and the actual ROI payments, which is the money out actual. Thank you.